I don't know what I was trying to do there.
Okay.
Yep, I'm just like I'm gonna do my French opening, and I'm just like, all right, let's get this started. And I was just like, yeah,
Hello, everyone. I am your host, Paul, and here is my co-host Jim and Dean.
yes, yes, this is what I was planning to do, but in French. But
Well,
then
too
I
late
just like
now.
all of a sudden I just decided like I don't
He
wanna.
just he just brain farted and like no.
Not even. I had
Oh,
like I knew exactly what I was gonna say, but then some part of my brain is like, how about we not do that though, and just like make noises instead. But that sounds like fun. Let's do that. Hi guys, how y'all doing? Welcome to another episode of the Nincompoops podcast. That's me, Paul, and my co-host Jim and Dean. Hi guys, how you doing?
Yeah, how you doing?
pretty good. Uh, not too bad today.
Yeah, it's been a you know what kind of a productive week we've had since last time. Even though I mean we definitely did not do a podcast episode last week,
Yeah.
last Wednesday.
Yeah, for all those guys who's wondering where we were last week, or guy, we were painting Dean's garage
This new
Yes.
Minecraft house.
Yes.
in his
Hmm.
new Minecraft house. Oh,
Quote
I mean, I
unquote
guess,
Minecraft
I guess,
house.
I guess we can say something and you can't,
Yeah.
but we were painting his garage in this house. Quite like, was it a 40-minute drive away from where we are right now?
Yes.
It was about a
And
40 to 50 minute drive. What, south of
yes,
us? Yeah.
Yes.
and yeah, the house. I'm not sure when the last time we talked about it, but the house is fully built and everything. The
Hmm.
only thing that needed to be done, uh, well, I mean, there's probably a few other things, but the thing that we did was paint the inside of the garage, and it was the three of us, Dean's older brother, and then another friend, who sometimes pops in our chat,
Hmm.
who painted the garage for a couple hours, and we got it done within,
A day.
I think, within a day. Yeah, and that was
Yeah.
just it was just adding the primer. So it was got to be painted on top of that later, which they did on Saturday, which I wasn't there for, but
So
we
yeah,
did that.
that one day of just doing primer, just like I think we spent like a good around 8 hours on about doing it.
Yeah, no, not
Was
8 hours.
More like 6.
Yeah,
six?
cause yeah, more like six, and then
Because we got there around like 1 or 2, and it was definitely nighttime by the time we all left.
yeah, so that's why we didn't. Yeah, that's why we didn't do a podcast. Because by the time we were done, it was like 8 or 8:30 or something, and then
Hmm.
we were chilling at the house and afterwards, so we didn't get home till like 9 o'clock or something.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
And yeah, that's why we didn't do the episode last week because we were doing that, and we couldn't exactly podcast while painting. I mean, maybe we could have tried, but then the sound would have been like dog shit because we didn't have microphones. We'd probably have to use like a phone sound quality, right? And then
Yeah.
we'd have to,
You just hear like pacing in the background, like,
and like, probably a lot of echoes because of how like hollow the garage was too. So it
Yeah.
would have been
yeah,
pretty bad. Yeah.
yeah. I remember you made a comment saying like, "Man, now I understand why like painting costs so much."
Yeah.
Just doing all the
It
work.
was a workout because I was sore the next day, for a little bit, and I was surprised. Like I thought painting was just like like what Jackson Pollock used to do, the artist. He used to just like
I did
throw
not.
his paint cans. He would just dip his paintbrush and paint and just like throw that shit against the canvas. I thought it would be like that, just throw the paint on the wall and then bam, you're done. But it wasn't like that at all.
Nah, this ain't like Super Mario Sunshine or any of this like MS
It
Paint.
wasn't. It wasn't like MS Paint. I was disappointed. It took a lot of muscle,
So
sadly.
you could just like right click and then left click onto the canvas, and like done.
Yep.
Yeah, that would have been a lot easier if it was like that. But
Nah,
too bad.
nah. It's been like a couple of years since I last painted a house, and I was like, "Yep, this is gonna." Moment you guys said like, "Yeah, we're gonna be like painting this week," I'm like, "Ooh, That sounds like a lot of work. This is gonna take a while. I might as well just join in and help out because I know that's gonna be a pain in the ass.
Yes, it was.
Honestly, a part of the reason was that the few Bob Ross stuff I've seen,
Yeah.
he does those paintings so quickly. So I was like, oh, okay, it's not so bad. We're gonna have bigger brushes. It would be easy. And we're not like trying to make a picture. We're just painting over the wall. But no, it was more than I thought.
Yeah. I
Yeah,
mean, how long is a Bob Ross episode?
An
I don't know,
hour.
like
An hour?
30 minutes. Nah,
30
it's not.
minutes, an hour?
Yeah.
Yeah.
I've never sat through like an entire episode before. It's usually just like, and plus I'm usually not even watching. It's just like something I put on the background if I like.
The
I'm a
the
meme today. Listen to Bob Ross
the
paint.
first time I've ever watched him was I only watched like 2 or 3. It was like during the Twitch marathon, and the part that made it fun was that the chat would like mean the fuck out of the whole process. Like whenever he would like make a nice part and then like fucking paint over it with like a totally different color, the chat would like spam like ruined, 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 and then whenever he mix it like he makes it work later on because he does some painting shit, the chat would be
Some-
like
some
saved, saved,
some-
saved.
Some magic going on with his painting.
Yeah, yeah,
Mhm.
it was a fun time. It wasn't fun enough for me to watch more than like 3 episodes, but
That's 3 more than me. I'm just there for the ASMR. Really.
and also like the dude's like hella chilled out. He's always like, this is Bob Ross, and it's okay if we mess up a little bit. They're just happy little accidents, and then we're just gonna move on to this next part, and we're gonna draw a little devil tree over here, and then we're just gonna keep going. And look, just take the time to admire your painting as you go, and you just do that for like the whole like, however long it is.
No. Man, I used to be like an Air Force drill sergeant before like
It's really, it's
I'm gonna
really
stop
relaxed.
doing this and now turn to painting instead. That's wild.
Yeah,
Hmm.
but I never liked painting personally. It was always too messy. But I respect people who are good at it because I'm not a very artsy person. I was pretty bad
I ha-
throughout my life.
I hated art just because I had it for like from like 6th grade to like freshman year, and I've always wanted to try out different like electives, and because of that, I just hated art.
Mm.
You know what I hate more than because when it comes to art, the part I don't mind is drawing because I was never bad at drawing. Like I'm no I'm not great, but if I were to draw something, it wouldn't be that bad. But what I hate is when they make you do like fucking these weird portraits and shit. I always hated doing that. I hate drawing eyes. Drawing eyes is fucking bullshit. Um,
Yeah.
and just like the other stuff they would make you do, like they would make you use like different construction papers on that shit. I hated that. But
Mm.
I hated crafts more because I took crafts my senior year in high school, and with crafts, it's not just you with a paintbrush or you with a pen or pencil. You have to use your hands to sculpt shit sometimes.
Ooh.
Sometimes you have to fucking like use your hands to put paper mache on paper and put glue. I always hated that shit. And like that the class was fun only because it wasn't like an actual class in high school. You have to like take a test on and shit, but it was still like I don't know. I just don't like I don't like doing art stuff most of the time. I don't know. It just kind of sucks.
Yeah, no, I can't relate to the art thing because in high school I never took. I don't even think I took like any art related stuff. And the only reason why I know this, obviously, in fact, because I didn't take it, because like when I went to apply to the local university, they're like, "Yeah, you can come in," and then a couple months later, it's like, "Oh, you didn't take art in high school." I don't know, friends. Can't we don't trust us non-artist people. We can't let you in. And then I I didn't go to university. I had to go to like a community college instead. So I can't relate. I never took art in high school.
But I almost took a music class in community college. The music class, I forgot what the title was, but I thought the music class was just like, hey, let's learn about instruments and stuff. And I was like, and so I was looking at the the title of the class. I'm like, oh, that sounds kind of cool. I mean, I don't really want to take it, but I need it for art and as a GE requirement.
Uh-huh.
And and I showed up to class first day. They're like, okay, so what we do in this class is that we talk about music history and the life of musicians, and you're also gonna have to do a big project on a musician and their history, and then we also have to listen to music every single week, and you have to write an essay about it.
Oh,
And I was just like, nope, and I just noped out of that class,
Uh-huh.
and I had to fill in that slot for art, so I decided to just crash a professor's first day in his class, because you just walk in, you hope you get a code so you can
Yeah.
get accepted to the class.
Yeah, except for the
And
codes, yeah.
I was like sweating, dude, because I showed up and there were like 7 fucking people who wanted who were walk-ins who just wanted to get the ad code. And if I didn't get that, I would have been stuck with that music class. But what happened was that the professor himself was really popular too, so there's a bunch of people like already on a wait list too. And then
Mhm.
before the class started, he's like, "Hey, there's a lot of walk-ins. I only have I only have 3 ad codes for the 7 of you. So, you know, 4 of you guys are gonna have to find a different class for this requirement." And luckily for me, with my incredible luck, I got top 3 in the lottery pool, so I made it. And then
Wow.
I dropped the music class as fast as I would drop a baby. Like I just
Oh.
slammed it against the ground.
Oh no, not the baby.
No, but not a baby, more like a puppy. I slammed that puppy down the ground and never saw it again. Moved on with my life.
You say that like that's like even better.
I don't know.
But
Is it?
I don't know.
I'm
I mean, I
joking.
took.
Don't drop babies or puppies. That's a bad idea.
What about cats? You drop kittens.
well, they always land on their feet.
I
Not
mean,
on
it should be
purpose.
fun, right?
Not on purpose.
On purpose.
Yeah.
I mean, it depends on how you chuck them, right? If you're like if you're just dropping them, they'll probably be fine. But if you're like throwing it like you're throwing a baseball, it's probably pretty bad.
Yeah.
I mean, I've never like thrown a cat before.
I
I've never like
I don't have
I've
I don't
never
have
done
experience throwing cats either. So
I've never done the test where to see if like a cat always lands up on their feet. But there's probably like a way you could make them so they don't land on their feet. Just like drop them from like hold them upside down. Just hold them like a half an inch above the ground. Just like drop them like haha. Technically, you didn't land on your feet.
yeah, but I don't know
Yeah,
about cats. But I know that's the case with squirrels. Apparently,
squirrels.
no matter no matter the height, when they fall, they always land on their feet, like completely unharmed.
I've never
Like,
heard of this.
Wait.
yeah, I watched a video on this. Like, if you chuck a squirrel off like a 500 feet building, it will land on its feet completely unharmed.
Have you not watched any of like Mark Rober stuff, the science stuff?
Ooh,
Mark Rober.
I've never heard of Mark Rober.
Is he the guy that does the engineering shit in the backyard?
Yeah, he
The
did
obstacle
like
courses?
Yeah, he did like an explanation why the squirrels always.
Yeah, yeah. I've watched like 2 videos of his, and that's how I learned that. Yeah.
Yeah, it's very insane.
Yeah,
Yeah.
no, definitely never heard of it. Therefore, never
I
watched
think
it.
it's because the tail acts like a parachute or some shit. Well, and they spread the legs too, so that acts like as
Yeah.
a parachute, so that they just glide down instead of just
They're pretty much
crashing.
an animal that parachutes themselves.
Yeah. But a cat doesn't have. I'm pretty sure a cat doesn't have the parachute thing, so they're kind of fucked, at a certain height. But
They just
Yeah.
respawn.
Gotta put a little bit more work into their
I
landings.
mean, they have 9 lives, so they're probably fine. But
Where
the
did the
squirrels,
nine,
yeah,
where did the 9 lives things even come from anyway?
I can't Google that, but you guys can.
I don't know.
All right, well, I'm doing some research. Why do cats have 9 lives? All right. So according to this one Google answer, Why are cats said to have 9 lives? Answer: historians say that Egyptians revered the number 9 because they associated it with their sun god, Atum Ra. According to one version, Ra gave birth to 8 other gods, and since Ra often took the form of a cat, people began associating it with 9 lives. Ra plus 8 with feline longevity. Alright, so it's the Egyptians then, I guess. Why cats have 9 lives. Alright, it's a little history for you, or religious history, I guess. Neato.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I'm sure it's like if we really wanted to try, we could look at every phrase that we commonly say, and then realize that it makes like no sense. But that's just one of them.
I mean, a lot of things like we just say, we know, just don't like. It makes sense if you're like familiar with the saying, just like, oh yeah, it's raining cats and dogs. But if you put it into a literal sense, like that makes no fucking sense. But if you just say it's like, yeah, it's raining cats and dogs, you're like, oh yeah, it's raining pretty hard. This is how it is. Like, I'm bringing up my French again, but freaking, they have like fucking sayings. It's like,
You know what really
it's hard.
works?
It's
Though?
hard to like directly translate this, but is this is what it means? I'm like, that makes no fucking sense. That's absurd. But then
You know
we had the
what?
same
You know what
thing.
works though? An apple a day keeps the doctor away. One time, I ate an apple and I went to the doctor's apartment, to my doctor's appointment,
Yeah.
and he was like repelled away from me, like magically. It was weird. Like every time he tried to get close to examine me, force field, boom, he got pushed out.
Damn.
Yeah,
Not even allowed to
that
have a
shit's
job.
real, dude. He was like, "You son of a bitch, you ate an apple before, didn't you? Wasting my time."
See? Exactly. That's why you shouldn't do it. An apple a day keeps the doctor away. Alright? Therefore, eat a burger instead. Alright? Let them do their job. Alright? Be unhealthy. Let them do their jobs. Alright? That's what we need. Help the doctors. It's been a hard year for them. Alright?
Yeah,
They,
that's true.
they need that work.
Doctors are kings and queens.
And queens. Yes.
That's what my mom wanted to be. I
Oh,
know
what, a
this
queen?
is a
Your mom
unique.
wanted to be a queen?
No, this is not a unique story. I know, but my mom wanted me to become a doctor myself when I was young
Oh.
because
Oh. I remember.
because in school, as I said before, my mom like I had good school results. Like they thought I was like a genius
Yeah.
or something close to it, and then they realized I wasn't and dropped me. But because of my early like school performance, my mom thought like, oh, this guy has potential to be a doctor, and then a couple of years later, she gave up on that dream because I wasn't smart enough to be a doctor. But yeah, she wanted me to become a doctor, and so I was like, oh, okay, I guess I become doctor then. And then I changed my mind, and then I hear about the things that doctors have to do to become doctors, and I triple down on not wanting to become a doctor because that shit's fucking tough, man. Like medical school, not only is it really fucking expensive to attend in the first place, but it's also, from what I've heard, it's like a million times harder than college, which is already by itself difficult. Some might be difficult, varying on which person you're talking to, but yeah, that shit's crazy. They have to like learn so much shit and like like memorize that, because what we do when we go to school, we memorize it, but then that shit eventually leaves our heads because we're not using that knowledge all the time. But with doctors, they can't afford doing that because to become a doctor, you're putting a lot of people's lives in your hands, and I just can't imagine having that pressure.
Well, my story is a little bit different. My parents didn't want me to become a doctor. They wanted me to become a king. They wanted me to own a country. That's
You
what
drop
they
this
want.
crown, king.
Yeah, thank you, thank you. Now I can like subjugate an entire country, whether it become the other people's country or my own people. As long as I become king, that's all that matters. If I become a tyrant, so be it. Ugh.
Yeah, that's very socialist of you, Paul.
Nah, it's feudalist. You had it right, you numbnut.
Damn. And this guy calls himself a commie.
I do not call myself a commie. I call
Well,
myself a king.
that's what you are. All commies are kings.
Uh, for viewers, you could probably guess that we're like a little bit like off today. It's just been like, or at least in my case, like I'm like, fuck. I woke up from a nap not too long ago, like legit 5 minutes before the podcast started. I'm like, fuck, I don't want to do this. I'm feeling lazy.
Yeah,
I don't
fuck
know if
you,
it's just
man.
how today is. I just took a nap, or because we, had our first like hangout. Well, not first hangout. We had a hangout for the first time in a very long time. Just had a little potluck yesterday. Play
Yep.
some games. Play some Magic.
Witchcraft tennis.
Witchcraft tennis. We played
Yeah,
some Mario tennis.
we played we spent quite a while on the Switch. We were playing Mario Golf for a little bit, and then Smash for a little bit. And
Mhm.
then we played Mario Tennis for probably like most of it, most of
Yeah.
the hangout. Yeah,
I didn't realize tennis would be that intense.
Yeah.
We were like making jokes like fuck. Even Valorant ain't as stressful as this.
Right.
yeah.
Yep.
Australia Miller says, "Happy birthday again, Jim." Hey, thank you, man. Happy birthday to you too. Everyone's
Yes,
birthdays today.
indeed. It's our birthdays.
Yeah, it's our
We're
birthday.
we're all a year older. But yeah, I actually forgot today was your birthday.
It's okay, man. Like honestly, it's just like a normal day. Like I'm not doing anything different. It's just
Yeah.
I think it's just one of those adult things where your birthday becomes a lot less important and
Indeed.
different when once you get older. You know, when you're young, you get a birthday cake and you get people to come over. I guess maybe family members. But then as you get older, everyone gets busier, or you realize that birthdays are really just nothing special. Your age goes up a number, but that's about it.
Yeah, pretty much. Like but besides that point, I totally forgot for you. I forgot your birthday was in July. Just because I think when we went to Japan back in 2019, about 2 years ago, we are like, oh yeah, during this trip we're gonna be celebrating your birthday. And I'm like, oh yeah. So when it came up like earlier today, like, oh yeah, it's your birthday today. I'm like, oh well, yeah. What the fuck did we do on that day in Japan? Because obviously we didn't celebrate. I don't think I
I
don't think
just
anyone, I don't think anyone gave a shit last year just because like there's more important things going on in July. I think.
no,
Didn't you go
we had
somewhere?
we had something last year. We were getting food
Oh, I
and
guess I just wasn't there just
and
because
yeah,
I was
COVID
locked. I
and
was
drink.
locking down.
Yeah. So last year, I mean, last year was it was it was just a small celebration with some people. Then we had drinks too. I didn't drink, obviously. I think I remember that around that time. Um, that was the day where I just drank Sprite instead, and I hated that. That might have been a different situation or day, but yeah, that's what happened last year. Year before that, I think we were drinking at the pub to celebrate that. I think.
Oh yeah,
Um,
that was fun.
yeah, and then the year before that, I think we hung out at Dean's for that, which Jeffrey said he'd come, and then he later didn't come because he wanted to get to bang. You horn dog, Jeff. Anyway, and yeah,
All
yeah, that's about it.
right, all right. Well, I was definitely wasn't there. Did we definitely did something though in Japan though, didn't we?
We had drinks at the pub.
Drinks at the pub. Ah, yes, there we go. That was our
Yeah,
celebration.
yeah,
Good
you
time.
know, yeah, the salt. It was fun, but again, like the celebration was just to me. It's just more an excuse to just have fun instead of just like be like, oh yeah, birthday day. It's just
Absolutely, yeah.
Yeah.
I don't care for birthdays. There are times where I forget my own birthday. I definitely
yeah.
do not remember many of my friends' birthdays until like I get that email from Facebook like, "Hey, it's your friend's birthday today." Oh wow, thanks, thanks, Mark, for reminding me, Mr. Zuckerberg. You.
Yeah, being an adult sucks, man. Like things like the small things are like in some ways some things are just less important. and then the shitty parts are more important. Like, you know, Matt, when you're like fucking 10 years old, you don't have to worry about fucking filing taxes or worrying about paying your bills and shit. But once you're like, you know, what, 24, like I am now. I escaped the 23 number, and now I'm
Hmm.
24. I'm basically in my mid 20s now, which is fun to think about. Um, yeah, I don't know. I feel like I have more things to worry about, and that sucks. Whereas when I was like 14, I was just like, man, you know, this high school sucks. You know, can't wait to be an adult. And then now that I'm an adult, I'm like, no, go back.
I want to go back. This is torture. Life is pain.
Like figuring out college, like is boring. It sucks.
Yeah.
Everything
Yeah.
sucks, man. I get
I mean,
back pains out of nowhere, and
oh yes,
it pulls me
yes.
out of work.
The random pains, the random injuries that just pop out.
Yeah,
Like
my knee
Yeah,
for
today
me,
was like fucking me up.
oof.
It
For me, it's like my wrist and my ankle earlier, a couple months ago.
came out of nowhere
sometimes your
too.
neck, like sometimes you wake up and then your neck just starts hurting for some fucking reason. You're just like, what? I sleep every day, and then now all of a sudden I get a like hurt neck out of nowhere for what? What I do? What was my crime? And then it just
Yes.
happens. Like one time I woke up a fucking carpal tunnel. Like why did that happen? I I I don't get why things happen to you for no reason. I'm 24. I shouldn't be experiencing this stuff yet, and then but it happens.
It
When I was
should be at least
14,
like another like 10 to 15 more years until that stuff happens. At
when I
least
was
until 40.
when I was 14, someone kicks a soccer ball to my head, bounces off. I don't even feel anything afterwards. I'm immortal. Like I fucking I tackle a wall like nothing. I feel immortal because afterwards I'm fine. And then now like I I step on a pebble and then I break my neck. You know, like what is wrong with life? Why is it like this?
Mm. Yeah,
I
for me,
wish I
it's
was
just like
immortal again.
I just wish I could get some like consistent sleep when I go to bed at night now. I just been
Yeah,
like suffering from like insomnia.
in high school, I was like, man, I want to pull no all nighter, and then I'd fail, and then I wake up, I'm like, okay, that's whatever. But now I'm like, all right, I'm gonna try to go bed early at 2 a.m. Doesn't sleep till 4 a.m. and then I wake up.
That's I don't think that's an adult problem. I think that's a you problem.
No, I think it's an adult problem. Okay, or
I
adult me's problem. Fuck
I
adult
right.
me.
That's that's still just like a you problem, just with extra steps.
Isn't it also your problem because you literally stayed up for 48 hours at one point,
Yeah, but
sometime this year?
that wasn't on purpose though. That wasn't me like staying up because like oh I got distracted. It was literally me just like all right, it's 10:30 p.m. I'm gonna
No,
go
no,
to
no, no.
bed.
It is exactly the same. That's what happens to me. I don't just stay up to 4. Like I don't go. I'm gonna go to bed at 2, and then I'm like, and then I just change my mind. No, like it's literally me. Sometimes just laying down, trying to sleep, and I just lay there for like 3 hours, and I just don't sleep.
Oh, okay. I thought you were talking about like when you just like were just like on your phone or just like watching something on YouTube.
I do that, but when I do that, it's only because I can't sleep at 2 a.m. So the only way I can keep my the only thing I can do is try to fall asleep while watching something because
Okay.
otherwise I'm just laying there doing nothing anyway.
Okay. All right. I mean, that's pretty much this thing I'm starting to, or at least I think I did like 2 days ago, when I went to bed at 10:30, and I think I stayed in bed until like 1 a.m. just like staring at the ceiling. I'm like, fuck this. I'm just gonna get up and just gonna shave or something, and just like go play Runescape or something, which I've actually kind of got back into like in the past couple of days, just like playing RuneScape. Who'd have thunk? Who'd have thunk I'd get back into that game? I haven't touched since like sophomore year of high school.
Yeah, I think
Yeah.
for me, I got back into it like I think a year or two ago, and I actually did like it for a little bit, but then I realized the game is actually not good.
Yeah.
So since then, I've been like off and on as to playing it, but I haven't enjoyed it. I just use it as a means to an end, so I can listen to stuff while I play, because
Yeah.
listening to your stuff gets kind of it's hard to pay attention to stuff when you're watching it, when you have when you're able to open another tab. So I use the game as that, where I just like I just listen while I play, and I absorb more off of what I'm listening than I am while playing RuneScape. Sometimes I don't use RuneScape for that because I get bored of RuneScape really easily. So I would switch to like Bloons or League or something else. I tried to do that with Valorant, didn't work out. You require too much. You require too much.
Not.
Too much mental. You require too much mental capacity to do that with Valorant.
Is that what happened in our early days of Valorant when we started playing?
Yeah, that's why I wouldn't talk in chat. I would just be listening to stuff, but it didn't work out.
Yeah,
apparently you need to hear where the bullets are coming from in order to play the game. Which was the downside.
Mm-hmm.
But I learned that lesson.
Yep, indeed. I knew pretty early on like Valorant's not a game for this.
Yeah, I mean I'm not a shooting player, so I don't know anything about shooting games, but yeah. And right now it's RuneScape again, and all I'm doing is fishing, so it's like pretty AFK. So I don't have to play very much. Game. Yeah, so the thing I like about RuneScape though is that it's a game you can play and you don't need to turn on your brain to play it.
Yeah. Depending on what you're doing.
And the more AFK the game, the better. So like the less RuneScape you play, the better RuneScape is. If that makes sense for all the non-RuneScape players out there.
Ironically enough, like I disagree, but at the same time I fully agree at the same time. It's depending on what you're doing, but RuneScape as a game is just like it's just a giant grind. And it's just something I didn't realize when I was a little kid when I was playing that all the time in the world. It's like, oh yeah, I click on the thing and it does the thing. And you do this repeatedly for hours, endless hours on end. And you're just like, for some reason thinking like, this is fun. I love this. And then until you get older, when you have better things that come.
Yeah.
Better things that come, and you're like, huh, this kind of shit, isn't it?
Yeah, remember back then when RuneScape was huge, like what were the alternatives, There weren't very much, but now there's so much shit. You can play and download within like an hour or two, depending on your internet, of course. But you can play and then and not worry about it. And RuneScape, the advantage back then was that it was free. World of Warcraft when that came out, you needed a membership. So if you're a kid who don't got money, RuneScape's your only choice. And then
that's literally exactly what happened to me. I always thought like, oh, World of Warcraft, now that's a real fun fantasy game I want to play, but I don't got money. I was just excited just to get RuneScape membership, where I would just like literally mail Jagex $5 in the mail to get membership for a month. And when I had that, I'm like, oh hell yeah, this is great. That was the best month of my life.
Yeah, back then when you're a kid, the RuneScape competitors were what? Club Penguin, Maple Story, which if you were in like a computer lab, you can't play because you need to download that because you're not using your own computer.
Yeah.
So and the laptops weren't as they weren't just given out to every kid back then. It was more like it was more of a luxury item or a computer. The best you can do is like maybe use your family's computer or something, but not every kid had that. But now kids have their own PCs nowadays, or their own laptops or phones and all that. And there are a shit ton more games now that are free and also provide more interesting gameplay than just left clicking on a tree or left clicking on a goblin or something.
Yeah.
So yeah,
pretty much.
RuneScape kind of pales in comparison to a lot of stuff now, which made me realize this game was never good. It was just the only thing we had back then, and yeah.
I mean, I still think it was like kind of good for what it was, especially back in the day. It still holds like a place even today. It's just a good podcast game.
Being the least bad out of shitty games isn't the same as being good. It was never good. It was just the only thing that we could do to pass time.
Indeed.
And we tricked ourselves to thinking it was fun because it was a game. But was it really fun? No, we were all lying to ourselves. we were lying to ourselves.
I don't know. I definitely can say for sure I had fun when I was a little kid.
I had
Just
fun
playing
too,
it.
but I lied to myself to make me think I had fun. It wasn't fun. It was shit. It was just all we had. And now that we have more options, you know, it's a relic of the past.
It is a relic, but I mean, we still play like old school RuneScape, just cause like we liked that relic instead of like the new one, or at least many people do. You know.
Yeah, I think I don't know the specifics of the new one enough, but I think what made the new one not work is that it already lost too much of its old fan base, and because of that aversion, they aren't gonna go back to play the new one,
Yeah,
um,
I can
because it's so different
definitely
from
say for sure that's
what it used
me.
to
Yeah.
be. I think if you're as a standalone game though, I'm sure it's fine because it's free to play. It hits all the right marks, subscription model if you want to pay a little extra to get the extra stuff.
Hmm.
And the gameplay is similar to WoW, I'm assuming, because you need to press buttons to do shit. So
I wouldn't know. I left pretty soon after they
as a
introduced the new
standalone,
combat system.
I only know this off of watching my brother play. But as a standalone game, it's probably not bad. I think the history though is what made people not want to play it. But
Mm.
yeah, I'm sure it's fine. I just don't care for it because I'm still salty about EOC. So
Yeah.
even though EOC probably made the game more fun, I'm still like that. That salt is still there. So I'm just not gonna play it.
Yeah. I mean, I still been on like a little nostalgic trip, just like playing it like in the past couple days. It's just like every time I go back to like a familiar area, I'm like, oh, I remember how to do this, kind of. And it's a combination like, oh wow, I remember doing this. It was like quite fun doing this quest in the storyline. And then you're also brought up like, fuck, this is kind of ass in some other respects, and it's like almost half and half. But I think it's like I don't know what it is. I think it's definitely the nostalgia speaking. But it's like this kind of ass kind of gameplay and quest and directions, and that they don't really like hold your hand too much. Is part of the charm and part of the fun. But that's definitely the nostalgia speaking.
Okay, well, I'm gonna sound like I'm gonna contradict myself, but I think the most fun part about RuneScape is that is because when you see your stats going up and you're like, oh, at this number I'm gonna unlock this.
These numbers
I,
are going up.
like if you're like at 37 attack, right, and then you're training attack, you're like, man, once I get 40, I can wield rune weapons. I think that progression, seeing
They're
your
working
numbers go
towards
up,
something.
that's the fun part about it. Where you're like, I'm working towards something, but then like once you hit a certain point, you run out of things to work up to, and then the next milestone is like, okay, I can now wield any weapon in the game, but then to get to the next milestone is to get 99, which is what everyone wants to get because it's
That's
like
max level.
that's max level. You master the skill, but then the grind from that point, from the previous point to 99, takes like it can take hundreds of hours depending on the skill. Some skills are faster, so instead of 100 hours, it might take you like 20 hours or 30 hours. But even then, that still feels like forever when you're just doing the same thing over and over. So you that charm falls off at that point really fast, which is where I'm at with some of my skills,
Mm.
and yeah, the loss of progression makes it a lot more boring, and then having hitting that roadblock every like so often makes you lose interest in the game, and then you fall out of playing it, which is what I feel all the time.
I mean,
Right now I'm doing fishing. All I do is just sit there, click on the fishing thing, and then once my bag is full, I drop the fish, repeat while I watch stuff.
I don't.
I've
You
been
don't
doing
even bring
that.
it to the bank or anything like that.
No, I'm just dropping it so I can fish more and get to 99 as soon as possible. If I were to bank it, it would take me forever to fucking get 99.
Mm.
And it would take me a lot of clicking to walk over to the bank. So I don't want to click stuff. I just want to sit there and fish. And
Mm.
and I've been doing that for I don't know how many hours now because I've only been doing it for like a week or two, and I'm getting bored out of my mind. I'm not even halfway to 99 too. My fishing right now is 82 or 83, I forget, and that's not even halfway to 99. And so just knowing that is already like I just want to shoot myself in Roblox.
Roblox. Uh, yeah, no, I think that's probably like why my problem. Why it took me a little bit longer to level up stuff, just because I didn't do the drop all my resources from my inventory. I just like, all right, it's full. Time to go to the bank. Just because
Yeah,
I
fun
wanted like a
fact.
change of like
Level
location for
50
this.
is not the halfway mark to 99. 93 is the halfway mark to 99. The more
Yes,
you know.
according to our one an old friend of ours that played RuneScape as well is like apparently 93 is halfway to 99, which I
Yeah.
didn't know until like you kept bringing it up.
You think you're a master, you're like almost a master 93? Wrong. You're only halfway there.
I know. You literally have to do the exact same thing over and over again, but it feels less rewarding, or it could feel more rewarding. But I think the reward at that point, when you're that high
It's
level,
why.
that the reward is literally just like to see the number tick up by one. And you're like, yes,
It's
I
why people
leveled
don't
up
like
again.
JRPGs, right? Because JRPGs, I happen to like JRPGs. Oh, what am I saying? Am I saying cheese? I don't know. JRPG.
I love cheese.
I happen to like JRPGs because of the stories. Usually the stories are pretty solid, and I like turn-based gameplay. The thing I don't like about JRPGs though is that you have to fucking grind so fucking much. You know,
Oh
like
yeah, I know that
like
grind.
like Xenoverse, for example. It's not a traditional JRPG because it's a fighting game, but then like the way they structure the game is very similar to one. They'll give you missions like, "Hey, fetch this" or "Fight this many times," and then the gameplay is fun for a while, but then once you're like spending like 10 hours grinding for one item, it's just it sucks the fun out of the game. This is my problem with Final Fantasy as a fucking franchise is too. Is like you just grind so much, it gets really tiring and boring. Like remember when you were playing Final Fantasy 3, the story was not bad. It was actually pretty decent, and then the gameplay wasn't that bad. But then the game tells you like, hey, in order to fight the next boss, you need to grind 10 levels, which takes like 5 hours to do,
Yep.
and that's so horseshit as a game experience, you know.
It's dependent on the person. Some people actually absolutely love the grind for some reason. I'm
I
not one of
know.
them,
I don't get that. I
but
just it feels like you're working at McDonald's for 8 hours in order to get your reward. You know.
That's why I like an auto battle system. That way it can grind for me, and then it's alright, time to progress the story.
Yeah, and then the JRPGs I like are the ones that trick you into grinding, or there's like no grinding at all. Like with Persona, when I was playing that, there is a grind there, but it tricks you because the
the
grind
grind
is just
actually
like
feels fun or something.
it feels fun because with Persona, the grind is like, hey, do I hang out with this friend or this friend to see their friendship event, for example. So like if
Mm.
you want to see this friend's event, you just hang out with them, and then when you hang out, then you gain some stats and stuff, and it tricks you into doing that. Whereas in Final Fantasy, it's like, hey, kill a goblin 5 million times to get to level 3. You know, like it, it there's a difference there. And with Fire Emblem is a grind too in a way, because
Yeah.
you do the same combat over and over again. You're trying to level up your units so that they don't become useless later on. But it tricks you to grinding because it makes you feel like you're playing chess instead of playing like a traditional party, um, you know, combat game. I
And
don't know.
it's because like your characters actually die in that game. It's like permadeath as well for the
Yeah,
rest of the story.
there's also that, and there's also they give you the bonding events between the characters too, which also helps. Like, so when you grind them out, like let's say you're trying to get these two characters to bang, by grinding them,
Yes.
right?
Yes.
In more ways than one. If they
Yes.
reward you with like, hey, this is a friendship event between these two characters, and you get to see how their relationship, goes on to
For that
the
little
next
bit of
level.
dialogue is
Yeah, yeah.
so
That tricks you into grinding when um, when you think it's really not, even though it really is if you look deep enough.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Right. That just means they did a great job at hiding the grind, which I think some developers should do.
Like, didn't you grind a lot? Like, I know you deal with more grind than I do because when I play a game that has a lot of grind, I usually like just stop playing, or I just like don't get the game in the first place. Because I know you dealt with this in Kakarot and FF7R, right? At least.
FF7R, the other FF7, the first one, the OG PlayStation, and then Digimon World 3 for the PlayStation also. But yeah, most of the time I'm just monkey braining it. It's like, alright, just gonna have to run around here, grind, while I watch like a video or something.
Yeah, and if it's all the battle, like it just takes a lot less button mashing for you
Yeah.
too.
Yeah, for Kakarot,
Yeah.
I think it was easier to grind.
The Kakarot had a lot of fetch quests. I fucking hate fetch quests, by the way. Where it's like, find me
Yes.
10 of this item.
Not a lot. They're more side quests than actual like part of the main quest kind of thing.
Oh, okay, because I remember the Xenoverse fucking. I'm pretty sure it was a side quest, but there was like one where it's like, hey, you try to deliver milk without dropping them, and then like the gimmick was you have to like match the footsteps with the button. So if you fuck up the button pressing while your character's walking, you drop all the milk. That shit like made me want to drop the game so hard. Like that, it was just a mini game too, and I was like, fuck, I gotta complete this because game. And yeah, I was just like, why did you add this to the game? Why did you want to make me miserable?
Yo, that reminds me of like the old Naruto Storm series, where you have to like do like, oh, fucking climb this tree, and it's like you gotta fucking it makes you run, and then you gotta dodge like some branches and shit, and you're just like, why is this here? Can't I just move on to the next story, please? Or yeah, there's some other stuff too.
This reminds me of that like one prod or pro ZD prod Z. Fuck, I forgot how to pronounce his
Pro
name.
ZD.
Pro ZD. His one video he put out, just like, yeah, here's like a cool, fun mechanic we have in our game, and it's like, oh man, I'm super excited to play the game with this mechanic. And then they introduce like a bunch of other dumb mechanics. They're like, well, you also have to do this too, like find a million eggs or play this, and they're like, I just want to play the one fun mechanic you have in the game that you advertised, not all this other extra shit.
That's how I felt about Fire Emblem Echoes. Fire Emblem Echoes is my least favorite fucking Fire Emblem game so far, and then like it just added so much dumb shit into it that I just hated it. Like remember the maze part? You had to walk around the maze.
Oh
you
yeah,
have to go through the maze to advance in the story. I was just like, why? I just want to play anime chess. That's all I want.
I totally forgot about that. Yeah, when you said like, yeah, remember Fire Emblem Echoes? Like, I was like, what the fuck are you talking about? Fire Emblem Echoes is a bunch of fun. And then you bring up the caves, like, oh yeah, the caves.
Yeah, it was
That's
like
kind of shit.
yeah, we're gonna treat this like a JRPG, but the combat's also chess. So when you hit a mob, you play the actual gameplay, but then you get like no XP off of it, you get no gold off of it. You just kill it. Like that's all you do. It's just a grind, and then they also throw
it's a grind
like
without any experience either. Just like you get nothing out of the grinds.
yeah, and then they're like also here's a random maze part where you have to figure out where the maze leads to before you begin your next fight, and then like another part where there's like a bunch of portals. You have to figure out which portal goes where so you can get to the end. Like they had this whole bunch of bullshit. I just did not like that game.
Oh, I totally forgot about that.
That's like Pokemon Ruby, where you have...
Like other than that though, Fire Emblem Echoes is good. I really I really enjoyed the story. The story was good. Like the presentation was really good. The voice acting was good. I just like that. I like that part, but then the gameplay part, they made it not fun.
I'm still proud of myself that I managed to find a way to like beat the final boss without anyone dying and without looking up any videos on how to do it. I just like I'm gonna use my brain.
Didn't that take you like hours? Because of how like
it did take me hours of very careful planning and very minute movement, but I eventually did it.
Yeah,
I had to like kite the final boss from like one edge of the map to the other, just like one painful turn at a time, and using my I think my main guy as like bait, just because he had the highest movement speed so he could dodge and a lot of
Yeah,
health.
yeah. Yeah. Like I really liked the story in that game. Like the characters were good. I think like the storytelling aspect was good. I just had a problem with like not only the random bullshit it threw in, but I didn't like the map design for if you remember the map design of like Celica's route, where it was like she had to go through a bunch of desert maps, and
Yeah, I was like movement was shit.
and then she hit like a shitty swamp map where you need to advance, but then as you advance, you take a lot of damage because of the swamp. Does damage to
Yeah.
you,
Oh
and
yeah.
then the several boat maps you have to do with her too.
I
Like
hate those types.
Actually, I actually quite like the boat maps. Those are pretty easy.
they were easy, but then it gets kind of repetitive
They were
after
a
a
little
while.
repetitive, yeah.
Whereas in Alva's route, he does like a whole bunch of different shit all the time. You know.
Yes, those were my favorite routes indeed. But I did like the
I like the party members. I like the party members in Celica's route better though, which sucked because her map sucked ass.
yes, absolutely. I did like the magic rings where I could just heal and shit every turn. Like I don't have to use up my fucking healing spells. It
Yeah.
was great.
And if it weren't for all of the bad parts, I think I would have rated it higher than I did. But unfortunately, because all the bad parts were just too overwhelming to me, I place it as like my least favorite Fire Emblem game that I've played, which isn't much, but you know.
I just erased a bunch of that bad stuff from my memory.
That's me with Fire Emblem Fates' story. I erased all the bad starts from all the bad parts from my mind.
That's all. That's almost all of it.
Yeah, I mean the gameplay I enjoyed more, for sure. Like I liked Conquest quite a bit, the gameplay wise, but the story was terrible throughout, like all the Fates routes.
Yes.
Yeah.
I still never played the third route because
Revelations.
Revelation just because I could never figure out how to get my DS to like connect to the internet again for some reason. It just stopped.
I know you don't want to anymore, but if you ever want to, I have it. You can try it out on there. But with if you never play Revelations, which you know, it's fine if you don't because you're not gonna miss much. It's really just the fan service route where it's like, hey, what if all these characters lived happily ever after, like or like work together, and not only is the story already bad in the other two main routes, but it's even worse in this one.
Oh
And,
boy.
and then the gameplay, you know how the gameplay was you know, it was okay in the other routes. We're gonna make this one really gimmicky in all the maps.
Oof.
Yeah, so it's like Revelations was the worst in terms of gameplay, worst in terms of story, and well, I mean, it was just the worst out of the three before, which is already saying something because the other two weren't that great, story wise.
So what you're saying is that the only reason why to play is because if you like really enjoyed all of the characters.
It's like if you want to see all the characters from both routes work together in this one, and it gives you like more backstory as to why all this stuff is happening. But again, the story is not good, so it's not like it matters that much. And also, yeah, also, you know, I played it mostly out of it just like okay, I completed the Fire Emblem Fates. That's why I played it. I didn't like it that much.
It's for closure.
Yeah.
Yeah, no. If I ever run out more politics or podcast videos to listen to in the background, just like what good games to listen to or play that while I listen, I'll probably consider it if I'm like really, really, really fucking desperate. But
Yeah.
my problem with Fates is the exact reason why I would not get Revelations, just because like I did not care for 90% of the characters in my roster.
You know,
Fates.
Fates. I was following the Fire Emblem community for a little while after Echoes, and so when they announced Three Houses, which is the latest Fire Emblem game, like the whole community was so nervous because they were like, "Amazing, Awakening was good, Fates was terrible though. Is Three Houses going to go down the route of Fates and become even worse?" Like everyone was so worried about how it was going to turn out because it could have been anything, you know. And luckily, Fire Emblem Three Houses went in a better direction. so it's not regarded as one of the best Fire Emblem games. But then like
Mhm.
people were worried after Fates. They're like, oh my god, is this gonna become another Fates? And yeah, they were like nervous as fuck. That's crazy.
Yeah, I still never played Three Houses, but did Three Houses have like a bunch of characters though? Because that's definitely what my problem was with Fates, and that like there was too many characters that you had in your team. As like there's 90% of the
No,
people on this roster I'm not using.
so how Three Houses works is that there's I mean as the name suggests there are three houses you pick from. And each house has about 10 characters. You can add on to the characters by recruiting students from other houses, but that takes a little bit of work though, because you need to get more points in certain stats or more proficiency with certain items. Because each student has like a requirement for you to be able to recruit them. You also need to get close enough with them too. So it's really difficult to just grind and get all the students in your first playthrough. You can do that with New Game Plus if you want to, but it's just that's just up to you. But for the most part, on your if you want to just do a pure playthrough without New Game Plus, the most you can get in your house is like maybe like 15, including like some of the other characters, depending on the route. So
Okay,
the roster's not really
that
that
sounds a
big.
lot more reasonable.
It's a lot more condensed, yeah.
Condensed, yeah. Because the
From
strength with Fire Emblem is that it's the characters, and if you have far too many characters in a story, you have less time to develop them and make them
Yeah, yeah.
more
And the advantage
likable.
of Three Houses that is that they actually do a good job with storytelling. So with each
Okay.
route, you get to know the characters of that house. If you recruit some other students from other houses, they don't talk about those students as much because that's not their story.
Yeah.
And so yeah, you get to know a lot of the students in one route. If you were to go one route.
Gotcha.
And obviously the lords, which are like they're like the heads of each house. You hear a lot about them across the other routes because they're important characters in the story. So you're gonna hear a lot about them regardless.
Okay.
But yeah, I personally like Three Houses is my new top favorite Fire Emblem game amongst all the ones I played.
Hmm.
The only part I don't like about it is just that because like they do really good job of storytelling, but because they do so much story, it's hard to just play route after route after route without taking a break because it gets the gameplay does get repetitive because each route takes like 60 hours by itself, which is which is big value for a game. But then it's just to play it back to back, it does get kind of exhausting after a while, which is why I still haven't finished all the routes yet, even though I've had the game for 2 years.
Wow.
Yeah.
Yeah, you said you've been like stuck on the last route?
No, I still have. I'm on route 3 out of 4, and
Whoa, there's four? I thought there was like three.
there's a reason why there's 4. There's a story reason for it.
Oh boy. All right.
Yeah.
Because yeah, I assume because three houses. It'd be three routes,
No,
isn't it?
there's a story. There's a story reason, and
Mm.
there's DLC for another route too, but that one's only like six chapters, so it's not too bad. But yeah.
Yeah, no, I definitely was interested in playing Three Houses, but I didn't from the simple fact I just don't own a Switch,
Yeah.
and I just like I'm in no rush. So if I ever do decide to play it, it would be definitely like years from now, and someone just like lets me borrow it. If they're like, "Hey, you want to play it? It's a lot of fun." I'm like, sure, I guess." But
You know what mistake I made for my current route though?
what?
I was like, I don't want to see any students die, so I recruited every single student because of New Game Plus, and I'm
Oh.
regretting it because they're not getting as much EXP because I'm splitting it across all of them too, which is
Jeez.
also a mistake. I should just not be using some of the useless ones, but I'm using the useless ones. I'm grinding them too.
Damn,
So
what a
that's
what-
hero.
Just let them die, man. Let them
I-
go.
For my last route, I'm not doing that. I'm just letting some people die. It's just the way warfare is gonna have to be, But
It's look, it's unrealistic and saying like, yeah, no one in my entire army died this entire thing. They
Like-
just lived.
I recruited it's really funny because I'm still on the first half of the game, and the first half is before like a big story event happens. So So in the first half, you face against the other two houses because it's just like you fight the other houses as a rivalry thing. Just and then when you see like the other army, they have like literally no like students in their houses. They just have generic soldier NPCs because they don't expect you to just recruit literally every other student in the game.
Mm.
So when they're talking about, hey, this is the Golden Deer house, and it's literally just the Lord by himself. But yeah, we're now in. I'm sorry, guys. As Paul's already mentioned, this is definitely one of our weaker episodes as of late because I don't know. I think we're just all out of it this week. At least I am.
Definitely.
Yeah.
I'm definitely out of it. I ain't gonna lie. About like halfway through, while we're talking about the whole RuneScape stuff, I legit logged on to RuneScape to like start fishing.
You scum.
Yeah.
That's literally what I did.
I don't blame you.
I mean, part of it's just like I just wanted to like prove a point. It's like, oh yeah, you actually could just like play this game and just like turn off your brain and just like continue doing other stuff in the background, which I kind of did. But
Yeah, we're gonna wrap this episode up. Next week I'll try to bring my usual energy into this. Okay, my usual spunk, But yeah,
I'm just.
I'll just blame.
this is just not our week. Also, I'll blame that Valorant game for shaking me up these last few days, so I can't talk anymore. All right,
Dude, the Valorant shook you up last night. Shook me up.
I'll just blame on the fact that I didn't get home until like 3 a.m. and I just like went to bed late.
I didn't sleep till 4.
Yeah,
we're talking about Mario Tennis, by the way, which is why
yeah.
It's like it's not just regular tennis; it's like more gimmicky tennis.
I mean, it's Mario.
It's witchcraft.
It's Nintendo, of course
witchcraft.
it is.
I mean that Nintendo part is what made Dean cry yesterday. all the times he could have scored, but they used that shit to save themselves.
I know. It's so bullshit. God.
I didn't understand either. Back in the old days of like a GameCube Mario Tennis, all we had was just like press both triggers and hit the hit button, and that's all you had in the game. But now they add this extra like abilities and mechanics. I just like I don't understand because I didn't look at the manual.
Yeah, it's
we just start playing.
But I imagine we'll be. Hold on. I imagine that the next time we come over, we're probably gonna be doing tennis again or something, and I'm sure we're gonna have a fun and stressful time.
Indeed. Indeed.
Dude, when I was playing, I was like sweating, like in real life. It wasn't just because it was hot. It's because like the intensity of the games were making me nervous.
Even as a spectator, you're like at the edge of your seat when it's like a really good rally.
Mm-hmm.
It's like holy shit, who's gonna score this thing? Like it's just a back and forth.
It made me think like, damn, this is what it's like to watch sports because I don't watch any sports, and that shit was like,
that's exciting.
It was nail biting and exciting, yeah.
Mm-hmm.
All right.
Yeah.
If you guys enjoyed today's episode, which I doubt you will, because it wasn't our best. We know this, okay? An athlete knows when he has a bad day at the ball game, but it is what it is. If you guys enjoyed today's episode, catch us with the other episodes 1 through 46 already on YouTube, and this one's going up on it soon. And also, feel free to leave a comment. We always enjoyed reading comments whenever we get them. Even when you're with us live on Twitch, we enjoy reading your comments there too. And yeah, all the links you need is in the description below for whichever platform you're watching us on. If it's on Twitch, our YouTube link is there, and vice versa. And yeah, we stream every Wednesday, with some exceptions, like last week. Every Wednesday, 6:30 PDT. So you'll know where to find us. Twitch.tv / the Nincompoops. No space in between anymore. So really easy to figure that out. And yeah, hope you guys had a good time. Peace.
Later.
All right. Later.